everyone, welcome to another Retro Gaming Books video. So today, as you can see, I want to present you with the different kinds of retro gaming books that exist on the market. And first of all, when I say retro gaming books, I really want to say video game history book, but you know, as video game is a trend, I thought I might as well use it, right? If you're watching this video, it also means that you might start writing your own video game history book, and I congratulate you for that. It's really a great step. Before starting writing your own book, you might as well study the competition, right? Not only is this a competition studying, but also the knowledge contained in those books is really invaluable. It's fantastic. You have to read those books, at least some of them, or at least skim them to look for some information. For example, I did that myself with this one book and this one book, so Game Over and the Ultimate History of Video Games, when I was writing my book on the history of Coleco, because some information was contained in both of those books. And but of course, those are not the only sources I've been using to write my own. In this one, the transaction with Nintendo and Coleco, between Nintendo and Coleco, and how Coleco obtained the Donkey Kong rights to have Donkey Kong as a cartridge included in their ColecoVision bundle is included there. Over here is I got many information during the lawsuit between Nintendo and Universal, which also included Coleco, because Coleco had some rights to use Donkey Kong, and Universal was not happy because they thought Donkey Kong and King Kong were too much similar, they shared too many story traits, for example. Let's get back to the subject here. After studying most of the markets, I realized that there was at least three kinds of different books on the market. So when it goes to video game history. So first, you have the text-heavy book, when there is little to no picture. In this one, you have some pictures at the end of the book, so before the 2 extra chapters, because it's the third edition of the book, and they implemented 2 extra chapters. But you have two chapters about the history of Nintendo. So it went from the Hanafuda car manufacturer to the Game & Watch, that were surprisingly for me, I learned it was a fail here in North America, whereas in Europe and Japan it was a huge success. I remember in my childhood not having one, but having some friend who had ones, and then of course the NES, the Super NES, and whatnot. So, but other than that, it's only text, and it's good because when you do something like this, you can go in details on every topic you choose to cover, and it's really good. In simple terms of formatting, it's also easier because you don't have to know where to put the pictures, and to fidget also with the copyright. So you're sure that you can write whatever you want, as long as it is interesting, of course. This one is similar. It's just that in this one, the use of the quotes are very important in video game history books. So as you can see here, for example, all the quotes, so all the people Stephen Kent talked with, they have their own text space. They are not included in the text like David Sheff did in Game Over. And it's a way of doing things. It's a style. It's really not something. There's no wrong, no right. This would be like my main argument here in this video, because for me at least, as long as you're doing a video game history book, I'm happy with that. As long as it is interesting, of course, but as long as you take this first step to do that, it's a good thing. So whether you want to put the quotes with their own text space, or whether you want to put it with their own like seamlessly in your text, it's either way it's good. So there is also Console Wars, which is like this. So text heavy, no pictures, and except so here the pictures are in the middle. This is also another way of doing things. I read Steve Jobs' biography, and it was like this as well. So So you have, so here it's for Sega and Nintendo people. It's so console wars from Blake Harris, very cool guy. I contacted him on LinkedIn for advice and whatnot, and he kindly replied to me. So I was really happy with that. So all of those three books are really like it's a user friendly. You can read them even though you're really not familiar with with video game history, or you just want to know some details about video game history, and because then you have some other types of work. And this one, for example, is from the MIT Press. It was written by Nathan Altis. It's very interesting, and I got also some information in this one about the ColecoVision and how the NES is similar to the ColecoVision and why also. So as the collection title suggests, it's a platform study, so it really goes in detail. So it uses all the technical jargon for video game console and in the video that is used in the video game industry. And so it really goes in details in character sets, in RAM, in the way you program the console, the way you want to do something. So it's really technique heavy, but nonetheless very interesting. But it's maybe for advanced people, or if you want to write a book on the NES or some other console, and you want some details on the NES and how it worked. So it's another way of exploring a platform, exploring a video game console, and super interesting. Technique heavy, but super interesting. Then to finish on the text heavy books, you have, so this one that I got, this one is it's a completely different book from all the other ones, because so it was written by Morgan Ramsey, published by A-Press, and so this one is a collection of interviews. So I'm currently reading it, so that's the bookmark. So it's a collection of interviews from many people from the video game industry and many entrepreneurs. So people who actually build their own studio, video game studio, or own company, hardware company from the ground up. And sometimes they succeeded, sometimes they failed, and this is why also it's very interesting. Nolan Bushnell from Atari, Trip Hawkins, who founded Electronic Arts, but also 3DO. 3DO didn't prove as successful as it could have been in the early 90s. And I really like this one, whereas it's not a review of the book. I really like this format because really this is the words of the professionals themselves. It's not something that it's not someone you interviewed and then you put your own words. You put their thoughts in your own words. So this is really what they said to Morgan when he interviewed them, and this is really super cool work. So this is another way of doing things. So a collection of interviews, and yeah. And then you have the visual heavy book. So unfortunately, I don't have Sam Dyer's book, Bitmaps books. So the visual compendium from the Commodore 64, the Amiga, the NES, because it's really the best example of using visual in a great way. But don't worry, I will put my hands on them really soon, and I will be able to show you. So instead, I will show you an official book, a Nintendo official book, which is called The Legend of Zelda Hyrule Historia, or Hyrule Historia. I don't know how it is pronounced in English actually. And so, even though you have some bits of text here and there, it was also the first book to present an official timeline of the series, so it was really cool. It's more about early drawings, early sketches, and the evolution of the character of Link, for example, the character of Zelda throughout the games. So it's very interesting, more about the pictures than anything else. So it's a there's a big work, big task on formatting, obviously. So for this, you really want to hire a professional to do this, and so yeah, this is how it looks, and yeah, you have a manga at the end of the book, so it's very interesting. And so this is the second type. So first type, text heavy book. Second type, visual heavy book. Almost visual only books. And then the third type, which is a hybrid actually. So you have both. So this is the history of Ocean from Roger Emkin and my friend Chris Wilkins, so from the UK. So this is the story of a very famous UK publisher, developer publisher actually, because they also develop games. They had some license they got from Japan or the US, and they produce games for the very successful computers like the Commodore 64, the Amiga, and whatnot, and also the console afterward. This is how I got to know them, with games on the NES, the Game Boy, obviously. Anyway, so this one is like a mix of both. So you have a lot of text, but you have also a lot of pictures to illustrate what the author is talking about, and it's extremely interesting. It's a great way to do this, and this is actually how I discovered video game history books, because when I started reading video game history books from French publisher Pixel in 2007, this is the way they do things. So they use a lot of pictures when they publish their biographies or History of Nintendo by Florent Gorge, for example. This is the way they do this. So they go through a lot of they go through a big phase of research, and then they use the pictures they got from their research to put them in a book. And for me, it's really cool, because I really love that when the author and the publisher share what they found on a specific topic. But this is, once more, no right, no wrong. This is how you want to do things. There is no best way to do. There is no best way to cover a topic. If you want to cover a topic with a lot of pictures, fine. Just make sure you have the right to use them, or they fall under the fair use. And you really want to seek legal advice for that, because it's really tricky. We all remember what happened with Sam Dyer and his book on the NES, and fortunately managed to go through with it, and it's really cool. It's really it really gives hope to a lot of people when it comes to write book, because this is one thing when you want to write something about a defunct company, like when you want to write something about a defunct company like Ocean, for example. It doesn't exist anymore, so you're more free. So it's possible that the license and the franchise belong now to someone else, but it's easier, because it was back in the day. The company doesn't exist anymore. This is how also for me it was easier to write the book on Coleco, because the company went under almost 30 years ago. So this is easier. But if you want to write something about Blizzard, for example, or if you want to write something about Nintendo or Sega, so it's different. You really want to talk to try to contact them first, and also to seek legal counsel, because you're really not sure what you can do. So, and it's really all in small character, in the contracts and stuff. So just make sure you can use those pictures and use those copyright to do that. To sum up everything, so first type of book, text heavy and completely interesting. You can really go in depth with the content. You can really go in depth with any topic you want to cover. So if you want to cover the history of Mario, you can do a complete chapter of how Mario was created if you have the information. Then you have the visual, almost visual only book, and so this is something good also, but you need to make sure you have the rights to use the pictures. And finally, you have the hybrid, so just a bit of both. A lot of text, a lot of pictures. Once more, just make sure you can use the pictures, so you don't have any problems, because this is the kind of problems you really want to take care of. It's just annoying. It's a lot of energy you waste, and it's because it's something you can resolve beforehand with a little bit of homework. And writing a video game history book is a lot of homework before you even start writing a line. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you have any project of starting writing a video game history book. There will be a whole lot of other videos on different subjects to help you take this first step and get started with your very first project, or maybe if you're not your first project, just to help you get some motivation to get started writing on another chapter, because I know what it's like also when you finish a chapter and you say, oh, okay, so now I have 3, 4, 5, 10 chapters left. So yeah, you need an extra bit of motivation to get started. So thanks again. Let me know if you have any questions about that, and I will see you soon.